All right, Nocturne in C-sharp minor by Chopin. Chopin is one of my favorite composers, and this is one of my favorite pieces of his. He composed it in 1830, and it was published 21 years after his death in 1870. He dedicated the piece to his sister, and I quote, "To my sister as an exercise before beginning the study of my second concerto." For this arrangement, I try to make it as easy as possible. For one thing, I transpose it from the key of C-sharp minor to A minor as a way of avoiding a ton of bar chords. And I also took out some of the ornaments to make it more playable on the guitar. I hope you enjoy the arrangement. The score and tab is available at my website, so I encourage you to go check that out. So it begins like this. So the rhythm of that's going to go 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2. So also notice you have rests in there, so you don't want the strings to ring. So I will often mute the strings with my left hand. So I've got this. I'll drop my hand to mute the strings. I'll use my pinky here. For here, you just lift off and it stops. And I'll use my left hand there. Those two measures repeat. And then we get into the main melody, measure 5. For the most part, you want to bring that melody out. So I'll do it one of two ways. One, I'll use rest stroke with my right hand, or I'll just hit it harder and then hit the accompaniment notes lighter. So here it is, beginning measure 5. So a couple things about that. One, if you take a look at measure 7, the rhythm of the melody, you've got that half note tied to a dotted eighth note. It's going to sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, E, The other thing is if you take a look at measure 9, that's kind of an awkward thing to do. So what I'll do is I'll drop my left shoulder to really help me get that to get those notes and also to have them ring and not cut off other strings. All right, measure 13 is the melody again with a little variation in it. So here is measure 13. Measure 14. Measure 15, we have that little passage, we have that scale passage. If you listen to piano players play it, they will often not play it rhythmically exact as it's written. Essentially what it does is it starts off slowly and gains momentum, goes faster as it goes along. One thing to think about when doing these type of scale passages over strings is which finger you start on with your right hand. I often start with my middle finger. Because I find if I start with my index finger, I have kind of an awkward change on that second string. So that's just a general thing for any scale passage, is think about which finger you're going to start on, because it could be one finger, starting on one finger is easier than starting on the other finger. All right, measure 16. In measure 17, we have what's called a Neapolitan chord. So a Neapolitan chord generally occurs in minor keys, and it's a major flat 2, usually in first inversion. This one's in root position. So flat 2, whatever the second note is in the scale, so the second note is usually B. If you flat that, B flat, make it a major chord, that's a Neapolitan chord. So that's what we have here. And this is good dating advice. So if you're ever on a blind date, one thing to ask your date would be, so what do you think about the Neapolitan chord? And the answer to that would probably tell you a lot about how the date's going to go. All right, now to get to that chord specifically, I will just put the bar down and then the rest of it. I find that easier than trying to get the whole chord down. So if I go slowly, all right, measure 21, we begin a new section. He switches it over to a major key, in this case, F major, in this arrangement. So slowly it's going to go like this. So if you notice in this section, we have a lot of different rhythms going on. So it's helpful to clap the rhythm first before trying to play it. So measure 21 goes like this. 1, 2E and 3E 4. Measure 22 goes like this. 1 and 2 and 3E 4. So it's a way of working on something separately so you're not also worrying about the technical issues of actually playing those notes. Measure 23. And then slowly for this part. right, from here we're going to repeat an earlier portion of the piece, and then it goes into a coda. So slowly, beginning measure 47. All right, in measure 53 you have this line, and it's similar to the other fast line, except now we're going up instead of down. So here it goes slowly. All right, and here we have these really cool sounding scale passages that go up and down. And they're usually played fairly freely. Like, you don't have to get all 14 of those notes in the space of 2 beats. What I'll do is I will accelerate as I'm going down that scale. So maybe something like this. And I do try and play them a little bit differently each time. So let me take a look at measure 59. We've got this. And this one is the longest of the bunch. And usually the last two I'll play them as free stroke. Beginning measure 60, you've got. A major chord. And it ends with this harmonic. All right, and that is the piece. So good luck. It's a beautiful piece of music.